Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome to BookList Thursday. This is a video series I'm doing in collaboration with Lisa from Books and Smiles. I'll leave her channel link down below. Please go check her out. She's amazing. And every Thursday we are bringing you a list of books based on whatever topic we feel like doing that week. So this week we are doing books that gave us all the feels. So many feelings. I think I have a good list here. I have 10 books this time. Kind of our overall goal is to have 10 books to talk about each time we do a book list. I haven't quite done it every single week, but this week I have 10, 100%. So the first one is one of my favorite books of all time, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I read this a couple years ago and absolutely loved it. This is right under Harry Potter for me. Nothing will beat Harry Potter. Nothing. But this one is a very, very close second. And this one is just so important, I believe, and it covers so many topics that are, heartbreaking and sad, but they're also really important for us to talk about because they're realities in society still today, which is insane to me because this was written so long ago. And it was just, it was so beautiful. If you don't know what this is about, I'd be shocked, number one, because this is one of the most known books of all time. But this follows a little girl named Scout, and she lives in Alabama. Her father's name is Atticus Finch. He's one of the best literary characters I've ever read in my entire life. And he is a lawyer down in Alabama during this time, and he is actually defending an African-American man who was accused of raping a white woman, and he was innocent. So it was really hard to try to prove that because he pretty much came with the stigma that, he's African-American, so he did it. And, that was their mind frame back then. So powerful, so moving. The characters in here are so incredible, and it was beautiful. I've only read it once. I want to read it 15 more times. So I actually think I might reread this one next year. But yeah, I loved it. So many feelings in this one. Okay, next one is more of an author than a specific book. I grabbed two of the most recent ones that I read by her, but Colleen Hoover. Oh my word, this woman. Okay, so November 9 and It Ends With Us. These are the two of my favorites probably that I've read so far of hers. But I loved the other two I read as well. They all have 5 stars for me. But this one in particular I read most recently and it made me cry. And I do not remember the last time I cried in a book. It's been years, but this one got me. And oh my gosh, just so many feelings. And a lot of mixed emotions too, especially with this one because this one deals with an abusive relationship, but you're kind of swooning over the abuser and you should not be. But you kind of are. And you're kind of rooting for them anyway, even though he's abusing her. But it was just, oh my gosh, so many confusing feelings, lots of confusing feelings with Colleen Hoover. You don't know what you should be feeling and you're feeling things you probably shouldn't be feeling. And yeah, I'm a big Colleen Hoover fan. I love it. All right, the next one is The Help by Kathryn Stockett. Oh my gosh, this book. I absolutely love this book. And this one follows some maids who live in the 1950s, 50s or 60s, something like that, when African Americans were still serving as, not slaves, but like housekeepers, I guess you could say, in prominent white women's homes. So, they were kind of looking after their kids and cooking their meals and doing all that. And it follows this group of women who are in that role in this time and kind of their friendships with white women, which is a little bit frowned upon. And it was just so interesting and so funny. Oh my gosh, I was surprised at how funny this book was. Oh my gosh, this one character, you know who I'm talking about. She is everything. This was also turned into a movie, and the movie was stunning as well. It was fantastic. It was one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. I absolutely love this book, absolutely love the movie. Read the book first, see the movie. Everything is fantastic. Next one is a historical fiction, Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I read this earlier this year, and this book almost made me cry. It almost got me. I held it back in, but oh my gosh, this book. So this follows an actual true story of a ship that was in Russia in World War II, and it was when Russia and Germany were at war, and this ship was holding a ton of German refugees, and it got torpedoed by Russia and went down, and it was the worst nautical tragedy that's ever happened. It was worse than the Titanic as far as how many deaths happened. And it wasn't really reported publicly because I believe Germany was kind of trying to cover it up because it would look like a big failure, which it was. It was. So Ruta Sepetys did a lot of research on this and put us in with 4 different characters who were going towards this ship and who were on the ship when it happened. And it was just crazy. This is a work of fiction, so it's not a nonfiction book, but it is based on an actual event in history. And it just, oh my goodness, just getting the perspectives from everybody was incredible. And it really helped you feel for people. And it's also really easy to get through. It's a young adult book. So it's, you know, I flew through this really, really quickly. But if you have not read this book, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. All right, next one is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, another one of my top 10 favorites, probably top 5 favorites. And I read this one a couple years ago as well, and I adored this book. This is a Christian fiction book, and it follows a man named Michael and a woman named Angel. And this is set in the 1800s, and it's definitely like a love at first sight type thing for Michael when he sees Angel, and he's getting a message from God that this is your wife. You need to take her, you need to get her out of her lifestyle because she is a prostitute at the time, and she has had a very, very bad upbringing involving men, and so that kind of brought her to where she is. So Michael is trying to follow God's word and, you know, take her as his wife and to get her away from this time. And this woman is the most stubborn character I've ever read about. She's so stubborn. I feel like she wanted to be saved, but then again, she didn't want to be dependent on anybody, basically. But it is their love story. It is a true account of just unconditional love. It was beautiful. And this is one I would reread again as well. I absolutely loved it. All right, this next one is Hum If You Don't Know the Words by Bianca Maris, and this book is set in Africa, and it follows a African-American woman who is, her job is living with a white family in South Africa, and again, she's kind of like their housekeeper, I guess you could say, and the white family there has a young daughter. She's about 7 years old, and something happens to this young girl's parents, and this woman ends up becoming her primary care provider, basically. But the woman also is trying to find her biological daughter, who has been kind of lost in a crazy situation involving the government and kind of like they're trying to overthrow the government, basically. So it was very scary. So many feels in this book. Oh my gosh. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of struggle, and, you know, mixed in with a couple happy times, but a lot of struggle in here. So I was feeling some stuff. All right, the next one is Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this one definitely had me feeling some feels. Not quite as much as some of the other ones, but I was definitely invested in these characters and was rooting for them. I felt some of it was a little unrealistic, but at the same time, I was really, really rooting for these characters and just, you know, wanting them to have the things that they wanted to have. And it made me feel, I had some feels. I read this in one day. It was really, really good. All right, the next one is Monsters: A Love Story. This is written by Liz Kay. This one follows a woman who is a poet. She is also a widow, and she had published a book of poetry which a production company in Hollywood wants to turn into a full-length movie. And the actor who was going to be playing the main character in this movie comes into her life. They end up working together. She's helping to write the script, and they develop a relationship. However, they are both so stubborn, and they are both so in denial that they have feelings for each other. Neither one of them wants to have feelings for the other one, but it's obviously there. And you see them go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And so your emotions are up and down and up and down and up and down, and like, stop fighting it. Just stop it. Stop it. But it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and I really loved the character dynamic between these two. It was fantastic. And the last one, you guys, oh my goodness, it's actually nonfiction, is Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. Oh my gosh, this book. Oh, this is another one. I would reread this. This follows a man named Louis Zamperini, and he is a real person. He has passed away in the past couple of years, I believe. And he was a World War II prisoner of war. He was captured by the Japanese. I think that's World War II. Yeah, it's World War II. He was a pilot, and his plane went down over the ocean. He had to survive that in itself, like that by itself is like a feat, because he's literally stranded in the middle of the ocean. He was with another person who did not make it. So just surviving that was crazy, but then he's picked up and he's taken prisoner by the Japanese and comes into contact with this Japanese general who is insanely psychotic. And just the things that he does to him is, I don't know how this man survived. I would not. I would not. I remember reading this for our book club, I think when I was in Tucson, and I was just so heartbroken. This one might have made me cry a little bit. It might have. Just the things that this man survived is just incredible. He's such an inspiration. I can't believe he survived all this stuff. Seriously, you sit here and read this and you're like, how is he still alive? I don't understand this. But example of true strength right here. The book is fantastic. All right, guys, that is it. So those are 10 books that gave me all the feels. All the feels. If you guys have suggestions for me, that books that gave you the feels, let me know what they are down below. I really want to know. Let me know if any of these are books that you have read that you agree with me with, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.